This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Throughout the nation and around the globe, from his heart to yours, it's Dearjames Live on the radio, here on the Contact Talk Radio Network, bringing you intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dearjames Live on the radio, here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dearjames, and for the second week, I am coming to you live from the beautiful Aspen Highlands here in Aspen, Colorado. And the topic today is Say Yes. And the interesting thing that I want to share with you about this topic before we launch into everything is that I wouldn't be here in Aspen hosting the show away from my normal setting, if you will, if I had continued to keep saying no to my friend that had asked me to come. And the amazing thing is that I kept saying no, no, no. And eventually, I overcame my own fears and hurdles of doing the show out of my own natural environment, if you will. And the beautiful thing is that I've been here for 2 weeks, and I've watched the scenery change. When we arrived, it was still much winter and a lot of snow and very beautiful. And over the course of the last week, it's become very sunny and warm, and the snow has melted, and the natural landscape, if you will, of the mountain area is emerging. And it's relative for the point that the only thing that we are truly guaranteed in life is change. And the entire topic today about Say Yes is about change. It's about expansion, not contraction. And for me to have kept saying no, I can't go, or no, I shouldn't do this, or it might not work, and all of these things, those were all hurdles. Those were all limitations. They were all self-made, and they were all contractions. And the beauty of saying yes is to expand. It's to expand our world and our setting and our abilities and our capabilities and ultimately our beings, our lives, ourselves. So Say Yes is very exciting for me because, I have to walk the talk, and I share with you this journey that we're all on, which is life. And Say Yes, or the word yes, has so many meanings. It's such a positive word. But it also has, it can have negative connotations to it. And so, there's many funny things out there. There's the Yes Man Challenge, and I'll go into that a little bit later. That's been out there, and I'm going to, on Facebook, on the Dearjames Facebook page, I'm going to promote a Say Yes Challenge. But the funny thing about it is that yes, everything in moderation. So it doesn't mean when we say yes, that you say yes to every single thing, because I think in that point you will dilute the message of saying yes, and you will be overwhelmed by it. So all good things in moderation. But the interesting thing is, in saying yes, yes is this amazing positive word. Yes is about acceptance, agreement, affirmation, permission. And in one of the first shows I did, The Power of Permission, permission is about self-permission, giving yourself permission to expand. And what I think of is the word yes is the action behind it. So you first give yourself permission, and then after that, you have to say yes to those opportunities. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to give myself permission and then kind of lay back or sit back and think that life is going to change. Because if you give yourself permission and you follow it with a no, you're going to stay exactly where you are. You're going to stay in this same place. So you want to start taking the power of permission and put it with the power of yes and marry those two, because yes is the action. That is the action that's going to propel you forward. And the permission is where you start. It's giving yourself, it's placing yourself in the race or in the game. And then yes is followed with the action. So I want to start the show with a dear friend of mine sent me this article, and it was really beautiful. And it's an excerpt from 7,000 Ways to Listen by Mark Nepo. And it was shared on the Omega Awakening, the Best Part in the Human Spirit site. And Mark discusses, he says, to intuit means to look upon, to instruct from within, to understand or learn by instinct. And instinct refers to learning we are born with, So intuition is the very personal way we listen to the universe in order to discover and rediscover the learnings we are born with. As such, intuition is a deep form of listening that, when trusted, can return us to the common, irrepressible element at the center of all life, and to the oneness of the things that surround us, both of which are at the heart of resilience. So he's talking about our inner intuition and our connectivity to Source. And he follows that by saying, so what does it mean to follow our intuition? What kind of listening are we asked to engage in order to sense what is calling and whether we should follow? I.e., is it a yes or should it be a no? Because remember, if someone comes at you, and I want to say this up front, the power of yes is amazing, but it comes with responsibility. If someone asks you to do something that is a negative or will harm yourself or others, the answer is no. You never willfully harm yourself or others. Hey, let's go rob this bank. No. Let's go harm this person. No. Those are strong no's. So I don't want to imply up front that yes is a blanket yes. There must be responsibility with your yeses, but they're abundant. When they're positive and they're abundant and they take you out of your shell and out of your contraction, your limitation, then it's a yes. So what kind of listening are we asked to engage in order to sense what is calling and whether we should follow? Even now, as he was speaking, as I speak, I am stalled if I try to think of what to say next. What is out of view only opens into something knowable if I wait and try to listen to what is there. If it takes a while, it's because some aspects of truth are shy, like owls who don't like to be seen during the day. It seems that intuitive listening requires us to still our minds until the beauty of things older than our minds can find us. Now, the beauty in that statement is that you will often hear me say, if you're frustrated and challenged and so forth, slow down. Stop and try to listen to yourself, not your mind, not your ego mind, not your frustrated mind, but your soul. Listen to your soul. And the amazing thing about when you do that is that the beauty of things older than our minds finds us. And that's a beautiful, beautiful statement. Now, Mark goes on to speak of a poem, and he says, at every turn in every day, we are presented with angels in 1,000 guises, each calling us to follow their song. There is no right or wrong way to go, and only your heart can find the appointments that you are born to keep, i.e., the yeses you are meant to experience. It's hard to take the risk, but meeting each uncertainty with an open heart will lead us to an authentic tomorrow. In the poem that he discussed, which was about a bird and this gentleman following a bird, he said, however far you go to follow the bird is beautifully enough. If you simply pause and continue your day, you will be given something. If you wander after its song a block or two, you will be given something else. If you discover that following this bird leads you to another life, you will be given something else indeed. Each point in the journey is an end in itself. One is not better than the other. Only your heart knows what to follow and where to stop. So the beauty of that message is that each yes will lead you someplace. And whether you follow that yes and it's, for lack of better words, a block long, or whether you're following it blocks long or miles long, each one brings you a different gift. But you have to be willing to see that that yes is leading you somewhere. Like for me, the journey was that it led me to Aspen to have this experience and to break down any fears that I had about where I could be in the world speaking with you, talking with you, sharing this show and the views from this show. So for me, it was an amazing expansion. It was an amazing permission, giving myself permission to come, tearing down all the fears and the limitations that I had, and then being able to go out and say, the confidence, the joy that I received from being here. It was a really great expansion lesson in yes for me. Say yes. Now, he goes on to tell a beautiful story about Dag Hammarskjöld, who was the legendary Secretary General under the United Nations, praised by President Kennedy as one of the greatest statesmen of our century. And in his book of diary reflections and markings, he wrote, "I don't know who or what put the question. I don't know when it was put. I don't even remember answering. But at some moment, I did answer yes to someone or something, and from that hour, I was certain that existence is meaningful and that, therefore, my life in self-surrender had a goal. This gentle man had discovered the appointment he was born to keep. This brief and powerful reflection confirms that he had listened to something he couldn't see and trust the certainty of his inner knowing to find his way. It's implied that some period of intuitive listening took place before he discovered the strength of saying yes. No one can teach us how to intuitively listen or trust, but that quiet courage to say yes rather than no is close to each of us. It involves holding our opinions and identity lightly so that we can be touched by the future. It means loosening our fist-like hold on how we see the world so that other views can reach us, expand us, deepen us, and rearrange us. Saying yes is the bravest way to keep learning into life. To keep leaning into life. That, for me, is it in a nutshell. When you fall into or lean into life by saying yes, the miracles just keep coming because you're expanding, you're evolving, you're being reshaped, you're not letting your fears or your limitations or your views of a certain subject or opportunity limit you. You're falling into it. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So before I go to break, I want to say to you that we're talking about the word yes and the ability to say yes. And the phone lines are open. I want to take your calls. 877-230-3062 is the line to call in on. And the amazing thing is we're going to go, again, before we go to break, I did a community challenge on the Dearjames Facebook page. And I asked that everyone write their topic or their comments about the word yes or saying yes. And there's about 30 of them. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to go over those and I'm going to take your calls live. And you're listening to Dearjames live on the radio here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. The topic is Say Yes, and we'll be back after this break.
to be more consciously enlightened is innate. Do you feel there's more to life? If so, find the resource that's right for you by going to dearjames.com/resources. You are the reality you create. Make it a great one. When you ask a question, the universe hears you, and in a multitude of ways, they seek to communicate with you to provide the intuitive insight, answers, and advice you seek. From serious to silly, monumental to mundane, there's nothing the universe can't cover. Maybe the insight you receive is exactly the affirmation you were looking for. Then again, it may just give you a whole new perspective on things, and that's the beauty of the universe. Submit your question to Dear James at dearjames.com and click Ask.
Available for private, individual, group, and corporate consultations, Dear James will provide you with the intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions. Schedule your consultation by going to www.dearjames.com and click on Consultation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dear James Live on the Radio, here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dear James, and today we are talking about the word yes, or say yes, or the power of the word yes. And speaking of that, say yes to calling in. It doesn't have to be on topic. You know, I take calls about anything and everything. So is there a challenge that you're afraid to say yes to? Is there an opportunity in life that you're afraid to say yes to? If there's any issue or topic, call in. Say yes to an intuitive reading with me. Say yes to simply calling in. So we're covering the power of the word yes. The phone number to call in is 877-230-3062. And I want to move to, again, before we went to break, I talked about the fact that I had done a community discussion on Facebook, on the Dear James Facebook page. And there was a remarkable amount of comments, and some of them, funny enough, were simply because it was about say yes. Some of the people actually just commented yes. They put back the word yes, which is great because it's an affirmation. It's a positive affirmation of yes. And think about that in life. How many times the word is used in so many different ways? And it's funny because sometimes you'll accomplish something, and what's the first word you say? You say, yes, yes, we did it, or I did it. There's something about, and its alter ego is, yes, you did that. It can be accusatory. It can be used in a dissent or an accusatory way. So there's all these amazing ways that the word yes is placed in our lives. And the point of this show today is to show you the power of yes in expansion. Expand your life, fall into life, give yourself permission. And I want to go to one of them, share with you. I'm going to share with you most of these. I'm going to try to. But one of them was sent in by Misha, and he said, for me, it means two things. The word yes means two things. It is about embracing opportunity. Sometimes the most bountiful opportunities aren't those we've been aiming for, but rather those that come from an unexpected person or source. We can be so focused on our forward motion that we too reflexively say no to something that comes in sideways. Now that's a brilliant statement, because what he's saying is we get so focused on our path or our way, our belief system, our way of getting somewhere, the destination, that when something comes at us sideways, we say no to it because it doesn't fit our mold or our belief or our way. And when that comes in sideways, say yes. because you don't know where it's going to lead you. You don't know whom you might meet, what you might find. The second thing he said, which brings me to part 2, it is about generosity. That sideways offer isn't always an obvious windfall. Sometimes it's a request for help, an opportunity for you disguised as a favor to someone else. So with the two together, ultimately saying yes is about being open to the world around you. Again, another remarkable thing about the word yes is, what if you're saying yes and you're doing a favor, only to find out that the yes was really a gift to you? That's incredible. Because if you had said no, you miss all the opportunities. You don't know you've confined yourself. By saying yes, you have these opportunities that come out of nowhere. I want to bring my producer on, Barb. She has a comment. So, Barb, hello.
Do you think that we, like as a society, have become neutral on yes and no? And it's kind of an age thing, too. Because I remember when I was young, I was always like, yes, all right, right on. And then you get to a certain age, I think, when you have so many people asking you for so many things, and you have to say, you feel obligated to say yes, that it becomes yes, and then an eye roll, you know?
Right.
And so that people become, when they hear it now, they're just kind of like, God, I can't even remember how I used to be like that.
Well, I think the interesting thing, Barb, is that there are people that, again, we have to discern, but I think the interesting thing about the word yes, or when we reply, is, are we being authentic in the yes? Right. And or are we being jaded? Are we being jaded with the yes, with the eye roll? Mm-hmm. Because the lesson here is, I think we have become jaded, and that's I'm just going to say it. I think. Well,
no, I agree. Jaded. I think we have. I think it's kind of come into a point where you have to say it because of the PTA or how you look to other people. So you're saying yes with the eye roll and a snickering smile, and it isn't an authentic yes because you really don't want to do it.
Right, exactly. We either don't want to step out of our comfort zone, or we think that the yes is going to be, it's a burden.
Right.
And that's really what the comment that Misha submitted was, we get so focused on the way we think it's supposed to happen and what we're going to do, and that when someone comes in at us sideways, it's like, ugh, really? Ugh. Yeah, okay, I'll help you. And that's, I think, how most times it's done, or it's disregarded. We say no, only to not realize that was the universe trying to get us to do something or expand ourselves in a way that we wouldn't have done otherwise.
All right, then you know what? I'm going to throw you a little curveball here.
Go ahead.
I'm going to use your abilities. Yay. What am I supposed to say yes to this week?
Oh. I think the funny thing is, okay, Barb, be careful.
Okay, no, I totally give it to me.
The interesting thing is, they're saying to you, why do you keep saying no so much? So you really have to be careful of the question you ask, because they're like, she's the queen of no. She's got no down like no one's business. No. Oh no. I couldn't possibly. And so, the funny thing is, the Yes Man movie with Jim Carrey, where he says yes to everything.
Right.
Well, perhaps I was gonna bring in the Say Yes challenge later in the show, but Barb is the universe is telling me that this is the challenge. The challenge, the Dearjames Say Yes challenge is start out with one day,
okay,
and say yes to everything unless it's illegal or harmful, or unless it's harmful or illegal. Say yes.
You're out on the street. Well, James said it was okay to say yes.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine to go rob the bank. And
it's a sting.
Murder this person. None of that, listeners.
Right.
Nothing that's harmful or illegal or anything like that. But there's a point by which we have to retrain ourselves.
Right.
And I would say, Barb, for you, that's that same thing. You know that you're a master of no. You
Right.
like it the way you like it, how you've got your formula, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a master of yes also in the obligation sense.
Yes, but are you yesing for the right reasons? Are you seeing the gifts? You follow me?
Oh, totally. No. I'd say it's a 50-50.
Right. So if we start, and the interesting thing about the Say Yes Challenge is, if we start saying yes and see how it changes us, do it for a day,
Okay.
and see how it changes you. And then I want everyone to move to a solid week, say yes. Now again, not things that are illegal, not things that are harmful, but
No
and
peanuts
not
if you
things
have an allergy.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Dear James said I had to say yes. When they're in the hospital. No.
No sea fish.
But there's a point by which when we start saying yes, and the funny thing is we're going to kind of begrudgingly do it in the beginning, right, Barb?
Right.
And then it's going to kind of pick up momentum. And the funny thing is going to happen is there's a point where you will tip the scale and will go too far, meaning, it'll be say yes exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to pull it back. But the point in the lesson of whether you do it for a day or whether you do it for the week is somewhere in there you're going to start seeing, wow, when you look back at that, you're going to say, wow, you know what? I said yes to that and I normally wouldn't have. And I met this person or this great thing happened or whatever. And then, it's the pendulum. The pendulum is always beautiful when it sits right in the middle because it's centered.
Okay.
And eventually, I think, Barb, it'll start undoing, and this is for all of us, it'll start undoing those limitations. It'll start showing us that
The stuff you really want to say yes to.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
otherwise we're just on default Jade mode of no.
Right.
Right?
Totally.
I mean, I'm guilty. I as I said at the top of the hour, I'm guilty here. I kept saying no to my friend who wanted me to come to Aspen. No, I must have told her 10 times no. And then finally I was like, she didn't let up, number one. So I give her great credit. Thank you, Hope, for that. And the funny thing was that finally I'm on the road and I come here and I face all these great fears. And I've had one of the most amazing times. What an amazing life gift. And I wouldn't have done it if I kept saying no, if I didn't see that sideways opportunity and take it. So, I'm right there with all of you.
Okay, so that's my challenge. I will be saying yes, starting
Say yes.
now. As long as it's not illegal.
As long as it's not illegal or harmful.
Or harmful to
you or
to
others.
anybody else.
Exactly. We do not want harmful things happening to people.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, thank you very much.
You're most welcome, Barb. Thank you. Okay, so I'm moving. I'm going to tell you, Irene submitted on the Dear James Facebook. She said, my humble take is to say yes is recognizing the power of admission, to take a good, hard look at oneself, one's life, and one's future, and hopefully become the best person one can be. Now that I am about to become a mother, I feel this desire even more. I hope to be the best version of myself, someone my daughter will want to emulate and be proud of. The opposite of saying no or denial, saying yes allows for recognition of past faults and moving towards improvement. So very true. Children are in our lives everywhere. And the power of yes. Think about when you are in front of your children or your grandchildren. And what's the first thing? They're always asking permission because they know that it's dependent upon the adults that are caring for them. And watch their eyes light up when they ask, can we do this? And the answer is yes. It's an amazing, you kind of have to stop and just hold that for a minute because it's an amazing gift. It's this freedom, it's opportunity, it's going to be expression. And I think sometimes we get so busy just trying to stay afloat that we forget the yes opportunities. We forget the brilliance and the magic of that. Will you go out and throw a ball with me? Instead of saying no and you see the whole deflated sadness of it all, say yes. Try to make a game of it with your family, with your children. Involve them in the Say Yes, in the Dear James Say Yes challenge. Involve your children, and then I'm going to post on Facebook that we're doing this Dear James Say Yes challenge. And I want you guys to try it for a day or for a week if you're really up for it. And then comment, write back, and post on the Dear James challenge, the Say Yes challenge, that what your experiences were. Because I think you're going to find, again, once you get past the Say Yes exhaustion, and you have to be mindful about that, but you're going to start seeing, wow, you know what? I would have said no to this, but I did this with my family, or my husband and I, or my partner and I, whatever it is. We did this, and we did this with ourselves, with each other, with our family, with our children, our grandchildren. And all of a sudden, this beautiful thing starts developing in how your children see the word yes and how you see them, and how it all just starts morphing into something really beautiful. So I want to move to Jennifer submitted, yes, the immediate definition that comes to mind is permission or affirmation. I asked my children to define it for me, and the result was less than stupefying. It means, okay, I can play, said my 7-year-old. Well, I was hoping for a more philosophical discussion, but no luck. In any case, for me, yes can equal freedom. If you allow yourself the full abandon, it can take you to rapture and back, or simply help you decide how many scoops of ice cream you shall ingest. Since I became a mom, I try to use the word as often as possible. That is to say, I try to affirm whenever possible. Not always easy, but essential in my mind for building healthy, confident, independent egos in one's children. In any case, it's a word and notion that sits just fine with me. So there's a prime example of engaging your children, and perhaps because their scope, if you will, is limited to permission. Can I go out and play? Can I go see my friend? Can we go to a movie? Everything is dependent upon the guardian, if you will, in terms of permission. So if we can expand the children's mind to say, what does the word yes really mean? And that really is beyond permission, that it's actionary, that it's where your world expands. And funny enough, and I know children well, I was one, we also have to be mindful that it can't just be a blanket yes, and I'm not advocating that in any way. But it's an interesting thing. The word yes is empowering. And if we can engage our children in this form of empowerment, then it's building confidence in them. It's saying to them, yes, you can do anything. Yes, you can be anything. Say yes when you have the opportunity. Don't limit and contract and box yourself in with the word no. It's a beautiful lesson we can teach our children. Martha submitted, yes to a happier life, moving forward, financial abundance, service to others, kindness, love in capital letters, friendship, hugs, excellent health, compassion for all God's creatures, kindness towards all animals, loving ourselves, God's never-ending love. So her yes was an affirmation to many beautiful things. All positive, yes to these things in life. Rachel submitted, yes, I will love you no matter what. Now that's a beauty, because Rachel is basically speaking about unconditional love and an affirmation to yes. I will love you no matter what. Again, that harks back to children. It harks back to ourselves. It harks back to our world, each other. So be mindful of that. Yes, I will love you no matter what. Marita said, yes, cookies. I like that, Marita. I'm a cookie fan as well. So yes. Gary mentioned, yes, so many applications. Giving permission to the allowance of life to open doors. A great world. So again, it's an affirmation of yes. If we expand Doors are going to open. Things are going to happen. We're going to have a great life, a great world. If we say no a lot, we're going to get exactly what we offered. No. So, it's kind of like what's on tap. There's two things on tap. Yes or no. I'm highly advocating you pull the yes tab. Barry submitted, yes propels me forward into action. It moves me to progression. Indeed, yes is actionary. It is what's directly behind the power of permission. It moves me to progression. So it's expansive. It's opportunity. It's all of these amazing things that propels and moves you into action. That is an amazing thing. We're going to go to a quick break. We are taking your calls live today on Say Yes and the power of yes. When we come back from the break, I'm going to continue with more of these amazing comments from the Say Yes community discussion that was on the Dearjames Facebook page. And again, if you doesn't have to be on topic, but if you have a question or a comment on Say Yes, or you're struggling with an issue, call in 877-230-3062. This is Dearjames live on the radio here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. We'll be back after this break.
Available for private, individual, group, and corporate consultations, Dearjames will provide you with the intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions. Schedule your consultation by going to www.dearjames.com and click on Consultation. The gift of giving is immeasurable. Give of your time, talent, resources, and money. Give not only because you can, but because by doing so, it is already coming back to you. As a people, we are only as strong as the least among us. Together, we harness the power of the collective whole and see through our deeds the power of miracles, both large and small. Find the charity that's right for you by visiting www.dearjames.com and click on Charitable Giving. One person or kind act really does make the difference.
When you ask a question, the universe hears you, and in a multitude of ways, they communicate to you the intuitive insight, answers, and advice you seek. Ask Dearjames a question and experience the magic of the universe. Visit Dearjames.com and click Ask.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dearjames Live on the radio here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dearjames, and we are talking about Say Yes. I want to go directly to another comment from Lori on Facebook, who said, yes to me can be construed in so many ways. If said and felt wholeheartedly, then it is my true authentic self shining for me and all to see and embrace. On the other hand, if said and felt with disdain or anger, then it is me in shame. It is at this point when I know saying yes was not authentic nor empowering. I try very hard to practice the first yes. So here's what, again, Lori's talking about, what Barb and I were talking about is, are we being authentic when we say yes, or are we doing it with the kind of a jaded place or a negative place or something like that? So that's important to watch. Are we being authentic? Yolanda said, say yes to forgiving yourself for being human and to saying no to anyone who drag you down with negativity of word or deed. You may discover self-esteem, respect of character as a person, but nothing happens overnight. So be consistent. Brilliant, Yolanda. Be consistent, because that is very important. It's about practicing. It's about retraining yourself to say yes. And that's very, very important. So I want to go live and take Kathy from Virginia. Hello, Kathy.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's the power of yes.
Yes.
What's happening?
That's what I'd like to find out. Actually, nothing's happening right now.
Okay. And what are you feeling boxed in and...
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Interesting enough, well, part of this, they're saying part of it or all of it is under your control. So, you're kind of, what I'm getting is you're doing the same things over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yes.
Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know what that definition is, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yes.
They're saying to me, you're beating the same, you're beating the dead horse, you're kicking the same dog, you're doing a lot of the same things over and over and over again. And, okay. So they're saying to me that okay, so this is about courage and conviction and expansion. So perfect timing that you called. You need to step out of your comfort zone. You're kind of, when we say we know what we know, mm-hmm. and we don't, and we like, that's comfortable. We know that that's comfortable, and we know that we like those things. And the problem with that, though, is sometimes the universe, nothing's happening because the universe doesn't want you to look in the same old haunts. They want you to start seeing, and I already know, I'm sensing very deeply in the center of my chest, you already know what you're supposed to be doing, and you don't like it.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So, so you have to transcend that discomfort. You're going to have to expand, because the reason they're contracting you, is because you're meant to step outside of your comfort zone. You're meant to do what you're not comfortable with. And, and you're like, uh-huh. Well, Kathy, but isn't that the point? That's the whole point of today's show. Say yes. In life, we get too comfortable. We get too jaded. We get too confined. And
hello?
But how's that working out for you? How's that feel?
You just went out?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying to you is that the universe is saying, how's that working for you? How's that feel? And I think what you're saying is it doesn't feel good. It's nothing's happening.
Right.
But you know exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing, and you're not doing it. True?
Yes, that was my whole calling in to see if I should pursue it.
So yes, you should. Yes, because you need to step out of this comfort zone. I also feel like there's a male figure. I believe it's possibly your husband or someone that's kind of also standing in your way. Is that?
I'm divorced.
Okay, but does he play a role in boxing you in still, or is there?
He was, but we're in two different states now.
Okay. So there's somewhere, and what I'm getting is that there's a male figure that's still kind of playing a role, and that may be mentally, it may be monthly, emotionally. Somehow you're still allowing this person, this male figure, to dominate your perceptions or your ideas or your beliefs, your confidence, your courage.
Okay.
And you need to transcend that as well. You need to relinquish that and really take a look at that and let that person go. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like when I say let go, meaning it's going to come to you. I know that you're understanding what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's a point, Kathy, of even though you may be in different states, and I get that it is your husband, your ex-husband. So take a look at that and make sure, because sometimes, how long were you married?
13 years.
13 years. Okay. So it takes a long time to come back to you. When you share your life that long, it takes a long time to figure out who you are again. And what I'm getting is there's some holdover, there's some residue of that relationship that kind of boxed you in and kept you in place or in check. He was a little bit more, he was very formidable, and kind of controlling and all these things. And that plays on your confidence. That plays on your courage. And so, so what I'm saying to you, and so the power of yes, realize all those things are at play, and then say, yes, I'm going to transcend you. Yes, I'm going to find me. Yes, I'm going to have my own courage. I'm going to expand. And I'm going to say yes to things. And by saying yes, and this is a brilliant thing, take the Dear James Yes Challenge, because when you do that for a week solid, you are going to change.
Okay.
And you're going to expand. And you're going to be funny. And then some of it you're going to be like, oh, did he really tell me I have to say yes to everything? But the beautiful thing, Kathy, is that once you start saying yes, some things are going to be fun, some might be daunting, whatever. So life's going to be a surprise. But the beautiful thing is you won't be the same person you are this second.
Good.
And you'll look back at that a week from now when you do it. And then please go to the Dear James Facebook page and post your, blog your commentary. Make more than one post if you'd like. You can do it daily or however you wish, but kind of share your journey with us, because I think you're going to be really amazed at how it all just starts unfolding in such a beautiful and brilliant way.
Okay.
All right. So say yes and don't let anyone else define you. All right.
Yes. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thank you for calling in. So that was Kathy from Virginia. And again, an interesting thing I want to hark back on. When we're in relationships, you always hear about how the people look like one or become one and all of that. And when you separate from a relationship, there's a lot of identity or re-identification, remolding of yourself. And you have to have, people immediately jump into another relationship, and that's not the way to go. You need time to figure out who you are again and to figure out all the beautiful lessons you learned from that reflection, that mirror of that relationship. And the more you realize the roles you played and the roles that the other person played, and you start transcending all of that, and you start saying, yes, I'm not going to be that person, you bloom, you blossom. So say yes to yourself about finding your identity. Say yes to transcending that which doesn't serve you any longer. I want to go to Joshua, who submitted on the Dear James Facebook page. Yes opens one up to the world, producing all the opportunities and experiences that come from a person being open. So again, the word yes, it's an opening. It's an opportunity. Whether it comes in sideways, whether it comes in as a direct hit, whether it's on our plate, it's an opening. It's an opportunity. Sandy submitted, saying yes gives me permission to be vulnerable, and that's okay. Beautiful statement. Say yes to being vulnerable, because being vulnerable is to empower yourself. It's the power of surrender, as we talked about in a previous show. To surrender to yourself and to the flow of the universe and your energy is to empower yourself. You're not swimming upstream. You're not fighting. You're surrendering, and you're flowing with the life force. Beautiful. Beth submitted, Saying yes to me means letting go of fears and uncertainty to take an opportunity to try something new or different or scary or difficult. Bravo, Beth. That is exactly what saying yes means. To take an opportunity to try something new, something different, something scary, or something difficult. Most of us would not do scary or difficult. We say no to those things. But try to say yes. Try to see beyond our own confined ideals. Say yes. Jonathan submitted, growing up in the religious South, yes is so powerful because I lived with so much no for such a long time. It means freedom, taking chances, embracing change, just doing it. And most of all, yes to loving oneself. No more no's. Brilliant, brilliant. Sometimes our environment, sometimes there's just so much no going on in your environment or in your home or in your head. Again, fear or circumstance. Turn that around and say yes. Yes, I'm going to transcend this. Yes, I'm going to try this. Yes, I'm going to be the person I know my soul is telling me to be. Beautiful, beautiful things. Barbara submitted, say yes. To me is to surrender to the possibility of all things, to open myself. So a beautiful point of open yourself. Again, keep hearing it, and I'm repeating it, but it's a beautiful comment that people are making. Jordan submitted, yes, trust in embracing the unknown. Similar to Misha. It's a sideways deal. Something's coming in, something's unknown. Say yes. What might it be? And trust yourself to say yes. That's the beautiful thing that we were speaking about in the beginning of the show, was that you've got to listen. You've got to listen to yourself inside to go, I really should say yes to this. And then you move forward, you expand. Deborah submitted, yes holds many meanings for me. As someone who has held herself back from venturing forth, saying yes is giving myself permission to do what I have said no to in the past. It also means stepping outside of my comfort zone and entertaining things that are uncomfortable but life-enriching. It opens doors to meeting new people, going new places, and inviting positive experiences into my life. Yes is a word of empowerment in my life and in my relationships. It's all about permission. You start with the power of permission, and then the yes is the action behind it. It's just that simple. If you give yourself permission, i.e., like Kathy, you give yourself permission, but you're looking in the same places, then you're kind of in a circle. You're still doing a no in a way. You got to expand. You got to start looking at the signs and see what else there is that you can do that will propel you forward, as Barry had said. It's progression. It's propelling and inspiring you forward. Pamela submitted, to me, saying yes demonstrates a person's willingness to change his life and the lives of others. It has a ripple effect, and is life-affirming and positive. Yes means you are willing to show up and to connect with others in new and exciting ways. It is a word of permission and joy when used to allow new and positive experiences into your life. I try to say yes as often as possible and always expect sensational results. Pamela made a very poignant point. The ripple effect of saying yes. And this harks back to, we don't know when we're helping someone out, or we're scared, or it's an unknown, or all these different things are taking place. But when we say yes, we change lives. We change our life. We change the people's lives that we said yes to. It's a ripple effect. What are the unknown ripples of that yes? Did we make someone's day by taking the kids out and going to the park? Did we make someone else's day because we ran into them and they were down and they engaged with us and saw our joy and our happiness? So all of these beautiful, beautiful things are on tap. So say yes. And thank you for an amazing show. And remember, no matter where you are or whom you're with or what you're doing, wrap yourself in goodness. This has been Dearjames. Have a beautiful day.
You've been listening to Dear James Live on the radio with your host, Dear James. Gain intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions and so much more by tuning in next week and visiting DearJames.com.